Geology isn't just about sitting in a lab. It's about going places, seeing things, doing stuff that no one else has. Geologists take home rock samples from their adventures all the time. But how do you know what kind of rock you actually have? You probably already know that there are 3 different types of rocks. The 3 types are igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary. And different rocks are made up of different things. This basalt is made up of similar things as this quartz monzonite, but they're not exactly the same. So when you do these different tests, you can determine what's in the rock and therefore what kind of rock it is. All rocks are made out of minerals, sort of like how cookies are all made up of flour, sugar, eggs, and chocolate chips. You can rearrange the ingredients to make different types of cookies, but the ingredients will stay the same, just as the minerals will stay the same in different rocks. So how do we figure out what kind of cookie we have? How do we know what it actually is? Turns out there's a lot of different tests you can perform on rocks and the minerals inside of them to find out what they are, and I'm going to go through these different tests with you. One of the easiest tests to conduct is with your eyes. You can tell just by comparing labeled pictures what sort of rock or mineral you have. That means that color and appearance are our first real test. The second would be a luster test. Luster is the geologic term for shine factor, or how shiny it seems. This pyrite has luster, while something like turquoise would not. Another fun color test you can do is to shine a black light on your sample. You might be surprised what color shows up. This quality is called fluorescence, named after the mineral fluorite, which glows really brightly when you shine a black light on it. When I'm in the field, the first test I like to conduct is a hardness test. Some rocks are harder than others, and that can tell you a lot more than just looking at them. Mohs hardness scale ranks weak minerals as a 1 and strong ones as a 10. Diamond is the strongest mineral and talc is the softest. So really quick, I'm going to show you a rock test while I'm in the field. As you can see, I'm scratching the rock with my fingernail first. I look really happy, but actually those aren't real scratch marks. Those are just my fingernail rubbed off on the rock because the rock is quite hard. I'm going to pick up another rock because I didn't like that one. And then I scratch it with my hammer, both on the rock and on the hammer. First on the hammer. So you can actually see that the rock it scratches off on the hammer, but it's not actually denting the hammer. So it's softer than a 7, but harder than a 2.5. Then I scratch with the end of my hammer, and you can see I make quite the dent. So yeah, that's how you conduct a hardness test. Our next test is what geologists call cleavage. Cleavage is geology wording for how a mineral breaks apart. Different crystals form differently and will tend to break along certain planes when you smash them. So really, the best way to test for cleavage is to bring a rock hammer into the field and literally pound away at rocks and hope that they're not too valuable. Chemical tests can be really useful in the field. I always carry a small bottle of hydrochloric acid with me so I can identify limestone, a type of sedimentary rock. This is the most common chemical test that geologists perform. Limestone contains a chemical carbonate, which reacts with HCl to form carbon dioxide, and you'll be able to see those bubbles when I actually find a piece of limestone, but I had to test quite a few rocks before I could. I really thought this quartzite bubble, but it didn't. Not limestone. But this blue rock is limestone, and if you look closely, you can see teeny tiny bubbles of carbon dioxide. Yay! Another test that you can conduct yourself is what we call a streak test, and that's simply just rubbing the rock on a piece of porcelain or other rough surface and seeing what color it rubs off. So this girl is comparing lapis lazuli and sodalite, and as you can see, lapis makes a dark blue streak. And when she tries to do sodalite, which will be next, she finds that it makes a white streak, which is why she chooses to do it on a blue porcelain tile instead. So streak can be really useful because it's not always the same color as the rock that you are testing. Have you ever heard of people being paid to lick rocks? Believe it or not, licking rocks is our last test. Some minerals can only be discerned by literally conducting a taste test on them. Halite is a perfect example because it can look like quartz or even calcite sometimes. Just make sure you lick the rock before you do the acid test. We don't want any of you to be eating acid today, okay? Now that you have the tools to successfully identify rocks and minerals, here's your challenge. Find a cool or pretty rock and take it home. Be a scientist and find out what it is. Anything that you discover will become special and worth something to you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and remember, Geology rocks!